Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. So you'll notice, hold on one second. So you'll notice I'm wearing a hoodie, right? And I promised Salesforce I would do this. Look at that, trailhead, Salesforce. Because we have officially signed our partnership agreement with Salesforce and we are super duper happy about it. So Trailblazer actually is what it's called, but it's one of their educational programs. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's give it a second. We'll wait for everyone to get in. I'll give you a second. You give me a second. All right. I have allergies, so I have nasal spray. And I think I've gotten myself addicted to it, actually. Hey, Frida, yeah, super cool. Frida, I did speak to V yesterday, and I will have something great for you Monday. So I don't want you to think you are forgotten. You are never forgotten. All right, so let's let everyone get in. Okay, cool, yeah. So come on in, come on in, come on in. So many really good things happening. Hey, Deborah's here from Celebration, Florida. So today's gonna actually be quite comprehensive. I want to kind of take you through step by step. And in doing so, you can't see it, but behind you, I actually kind of wrote down how I want this meeting to go. So I'm going to be structured. It's not going to be Anthony just talking from the heart, which I'll always do that. But instead of not knowing my next sentence, I'm going to kind of know my next sentence. Although I didn't know that sentence and I didn't know this one by definition, and let's see how this goes, right? All right, we'll give it one more minute and let's go. I kind of want to move this camera down a little bit because I feel like I'm not centered. All right, feel a little better now. All right, great showing, great showing. Let's let everyone get in. All right, and because this is recorded, I'm not going to be so sensitive to waiting for everyone to get in. And I always say it at like 2:10, we have a full house. And it always makes me feel a little guilty because could I have waited those 7 minutes instead of someone walking into a movie that they already missed the first scene? And I think I just fall on, I do my part by being here at the same exact time every single week. In fact, there was one time I had messaged that Rhino Welt was going to be a half hour late, and one of our lovely rhinos who's on this call right now actually called my cell phone. And you're never late. Are you okay? And because I'm always going to be accountable to everyone, so I will always be here. And I think that's me doing my part, right? You know, Anthony's going to start at exactly that time. So if you're late, then watch the recording. Okay, cool. So I don't know. It's funny. I don't know if anyone can tell that I'm tired. I just feel tired. And I'm going to show you a lot of stuff and you're going to say, wow, I understand. But okay, so I do understand. Well, how many times can I say understand in one? Say I didn't know I was going to say that sentence. Hey, Brian's in the house. We do have a lot of new people on. So I want to go ahead and start with our commercial. So in what you don't see behind you, it's, you know, where I want to take it. And obviously step one is what is Rhino Street? And rather than me explaining it, how about we just allow the commercial to do that? So I'm going to do a share screen. And that is where we're going to start. And as you can see, there's so much behind here. So, you know, get ready for quite a day today. So for those that would like to know what Rhino Street is, this is our professionally done commercial. We just paid the invoice yesterday. It was the most expensive 1 minute and 22 seconds that we've ever spent in our life, and by a lot. But this is what the world's going to see when they ask the question, what is Rhino Street?
Here on Rhino Street, we know you're a superhero.
You're in bed. You're in yoga. You're waking your kids.
You're dressing your kids. You're making breakfast.
You're kissing them goodbye. You are waving, I love you.
Your coworkers can't stop you.
Your boss can't lose you. Your lunch only pauses you. Your role morphs on you.
Your workday doesn't exhaust you. You see your future every night.
Your wife inside single.
Your family together again.
Your heart is present.
Your mind is years ahead.
Your idea will be a huge success.
Wall Street companies own all our search engines. Other Wall Street companies pay trillions for our search results.
Wall Street companies are bankrupting our main streets by redirecting our sales from our neighbors to their investors.
Superheroes search their community.
Superheroes fight for their community.
Superheroes rescue their community. Superheroes rebuild their community.
Superheroes are their community. RhinoStreet.com. 20-mile radius. Search your community first.
So we absolutely love that. Where am I? So for those who asked who Rhino Street is, that is the answer. So going forward, because this is a launch, right? The pro and con of Rhino Street in the way we have built it comes down to one particular detail. Sorry. That's really embarrassing, but I whenever I'm on this, I'm just talking too much, I think. Anyways, it comes down to one detail. The differentiating factor about Rhino Street over every search engine that's ever been, I guess I can't say conceived, but anyone that's ever had any success, anyone that's available, is that we actually limit the search results. We do not give every search result. And that's kind of, counterintuitive. And I believe that one's appetite for more isn't a good thing. Like when you're a child and your mother says, don't eat all that candy, you're going to throw up. Well, if you ate just one or two pieces, you'd be quite satisfied and always want more. But when you eat all the pieces, you have such an abundance that you do throw up. And it's, well, why have you always eaten all the candy? Right? So in lieu of your mother being there to tell you, or in lieu of a responsible adult or someone of responsibility telling you, no, you cannot have all of that candy, you have continued eating all that candy and you've continued throwing up, or you've stayed away from it. Or if you're one that is quite balanced, you're like, oh, I can have one piece. I know if I have more, I'm going to throw up. The point being, once you understand the concept that less is more, right? Like for instance, if you ask any guy, what's the most attractive thing a girl ever wore? I think girls would probably think that the guy's going to answer some type of lingerie. It's not that. If you show less, it is more, because you allow the man, for, in this example, to build an imagination and always wants more. Now, the point is just to go ahead and allow you to understand the concept of less is more. Now, how is it applied to Rhino Street? How is it applied to the world of search engines? Well, a lot of the pushback that I've gotten from the 20-mile radius is from those saying, Anthony, I want to have as many customers as possible. I want the world to see what I'm doing. And I understand that concept. That's along the lines of you're trying to have too much candy, though. Having a lot of candy sounds like a great idea, but it's never a good idea, right? So when you go ahead and you say, I want to go ahead and advertise to the entire world, I want everyone to buy my product, I agree. That's a very good idea. But there are steps before that. And I think the difficulty that people have is that they believe if they just say a sentence, they can go ahead and achieve it. If they just speak it into existence, that it's going to happen, right? I want to be president. Okay, great. You want to be president? Great. When your child says they want to be president, do you ever tell them, okay, go run in the next national election? Or do you say, hey, maybe you should get started in community service, and maybe get started in like the Model UN, or maybe get started and try to win class president, or maybe go ahead and go to school for political science, or maybe watch a little more CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, maybe participate in some local elections, maybe go ahead and finally, after you graduate political science, go ahead and run for alderman, is that a political position? Yeah. Alderman or congressman or freeholder, or maybe when you get really like you understand it and you made enough relationships and you know the community, go run for mayor. The point is, between having a dream to being president and being president, there's a whole lot of steps in the middle of it. And a responsible adult knows that. When you're speaking to your child, you would go ahead and share that. But as an actual person, you don't want to hear don't have too much candy. It's like we're all kids. In fact, I used to, my high school sweetheart? Anyway, the girl I grew up next to, right? Like in your in your pre-18 life, you have that like person that was your best friend and then you dated, whatever. I'm not sure any of that's really important, except that she was important to me. And the point of the story is, like, I don't know why I digress so far, was one of the funniest things she ever said to me was, Anthony, I've concluded that people only drink so that they can be children again. And I was like, that sounds so silly. And she goes, think about it. When you drink, you get to say whatever you want to whoever you want. You're always forgiven. You can puke wherever you want. You could pee wherever you want. You eat whatever you want. No one could tell you anything. You could fight. You could do this. You could do that. And the next day you're forgiven. You could go ahead and put your head in someone's boobs. Like all of this stuff, like you're forgiven. And again, with respect, right? I was making the analogy to a kid that rests his head on his mother's bosom, right? So with respect, but you could say someone's not looking good in this or that or whatever. And when she said that, I was like, it's actually a little more insightful than I was like prepared for. And I think along those lines, if you extrapolate it further, all of our instincts are kind of childlike. Oh, I want to be this so I can be it. And I think people have taken it one of two extreme ways. I can be it, let me do it. Or, oh, it's foolish to dream that big, be more realistic, and they don't ever go for it. I don't know where our society lost the way of understanding that there's a step. There's letters B to Y between A to Z. And if you do not appreciate that, well, then you're doomed. You're subject to be doomed by it, right? So going back to Rhino Street, when somebody says they want their product to be considered across the globe, well, yeah, that sounds great. But do you think there might be some steps between where you are and everyone in the globe being able to consider your product? And the reason I say that is because everything has two sides to it, right? I want to go ahead and compete in the National Football League. Great. That means that people that you're competing with are also competing in the National Football League. So it does not matter your skill set. Are you able to check all the boxes in competition with others that are hungrier than you? Can you be hungrier than them? Because the person that's going to hit you in football has been training their entire life. They're working out every day. They're eating, they're sleeping in hyperbolic oxygen chambers. They're running up and down stadium stairs every day. They're lifting more and more weights every day. They haven't eaten a thing of fat. You get the point, right? So yeah, I'm really fast. But am I willing to put in the work that they put in every day? Because if I'm not willing to, I can't compete with them. There's two sides of it. I want to be in the NFL, fine. But you're missing, I want to compete in the NFL. And by definition, when you compete, you're competing against other people. And when you compete against other people, you have to be bigger and better than them. Otherwise, you lose. And if you lose, you're no longer in this league because the league is only winners. So what does it mean to go ahead and sell your products globally? Well, are you prepared to compete globally? Because the competition for global is very different than the competition for local. And because no one's ever actually had the opportunity or the ability to compete locally, or had the technology that Rhino Street is going to offer you that allows you to compete locally, the choice has always been only to compete globally. Well, to compete globally, here's the things you need. You need to have such a good brand or such a good product that people who do not know you and do not care who you are, who only care about your product or only care about your brand, decide to choose you. And they're going to choose you across the spectrum of others looking to sell them the same exact thing, plus or minus a little bit, others looking to sell them a thing a little more expensive or a little less expensive, others that are willing to even take a loss in selling them that, because once they know they sell them that, they have their information, and then their data processing is so great that, oh, if I sold someone a banana, I know that they also want to, I know they also want to make a smoothie with peanut butter. So I'll sell a banana at a loss. They'll get in, they'll buy my banana. They trust me. They went through the process. They like me. And then I can make the money back on the peanut butter. And now I have them as a smoothie customer, and I'll sell them recipe books, right? The point is, when you go ahead and compete global, you are competing against every single person in the globe that is trying to win. And the problem with that is, you can't just go do that. And in fact, the majority of people that have ever competed on the internet only know that, which means they've constantly got their butt handed to them. It means you've constantly lost, which means you've constantly lost money. You know, you made a couple of sales here, and you never became that millionaire, billionaire that you wanted to be. Because when you're competing globally, your winning and losing is completely dependent on your product, on your price, and on your personality. Product, price, personality. You know, I didn't know I was going to have 3 Ps, but the 3 Ps, right? Now, do you have the greatest personality? I don't know. Maybe you do. I happen to like everyone in Rhino, and I think every single person in Rhino has the best personality ever in the history of the world, until I see the next person and I tell them that, like my mother used to do to me. I was the oldest of 6 kids. No matter what child was in the room, they were her favorite. And upon asking, I just heard you say Joey was your favorite. No, you didn't, sweetheart. You know you're my favorite. And then I'd walk out the room and Chris would be like, I just heard you say Anthony was your favorite. No, he's not. You're my favorite, right? Change right. And that's just the way that is. So to me, every Rhino is my favorite. Which, by the way, we're up to 967. We're getting very close to actually having 1,000 Rhinos that all own Rhino coin, which is so cool. Because everyone knows this has been completely word of mouth. I haven't done any marketing. In fact, that's what this whole presentation is today. We're going to show you the marketing that's going to happen. And I've promised everyone since day one that when we do marketing, it's going to be the biggest, greatest thing you've ever seen. And I think it's going to be. So stick with me, right? Okay. Sorry, I'm also looking at my team typing. And they know I'm here 2 to 3, but I always put the alerts on. I want to know everything that's going on with my team. So I'm looking at it. Anyways, okay. So where was I? Okay, so that's what it takes. So do you have the best personality, right? And now, you know, is your personality better than the pretty model girl that got paid to go ahead and present the product and she won over guys that could have been, all right, so now you got to handle that. Now pricing, if you're just getting into the field, you're going to run an internet business like a regular business. I want to buy this for $1. I want to sell it for $1.10. Let me make 10% on it, right? Like if I could just make 10%, you know, I'll make 10%. And then if I could sell like 1 million of these things, I can make 10% on 1 million. I'll make 100,000 for the year. That sounds great. Well, that's how regular businesses run, not internet businesses, because everyone knows that equation, which means the person with the most money always wins, because the person with the most money could go ahead and give something away for free, can go ahead and give something away at a discount. They could go ahead and sell something as a loss. In fact, it's actually called a loss leader. That's part of Internet Marketing 101. Make sure you have a loss leader, because when you're advertising to the globe, well, the competition is pretty high. Like when you're advertising locally, it's like, okay, my coffee versus their coffee. Oh, their coffee's better, but mine is cheaper, right? So some people go there, some people go here. We both live kumbaya. That's fine. But when you're competing against the globe, you don't have that ability anymore. So you have to have the best loss leader ever. You have to find a way that you can give something away for free. You have to find a way that you can give something away that's $100 for only $10. And everyone knows it. And they're like, okay, how can I pass up this deal? Let me get it. And then you have to have a follow-up, because they are not obligated. They're not signing a contract that if they buy one thing from you, they have to buy 2, 3, and 4. So you have to have an email sequencing and a funnel system that once they bought this, give them a couple of days, get back to them. Hey, how's it going over there? How do you like that? If you like that, you're going to love this, just a consideration. And now what percentage of those people come over here and what percentage convert, so that maybe 1% of the original 100% of people that you got end up becoming your big super duper customers that are buying high ticket products. You keep them retained, you do it again and again, and now all of a sudden after a couple of years, you have like 1,000 big ticket buyers, and now you are making $1 million a year. But how much did it cost you to do it? Which means if you're starting an internet business with the belief of, hey, I got like 10,000 saved up and I could start this like a regular business, you are so far gone that you should go to your neighbor, give them half the money, ask them to punch you in the face and say thank you while you walk back with your house with the 5,000. And maybe punch you in the face is a little aggressive today. Ask them to give you an apple pie, right? Actually, I had blueberry pie for Easter. Oh my God, I'm still thinking about it. Like, remember that time you saw your significant other wearing that thing and you had a night like you'll never forget? That was equivalent to how I felt about that blueberry pie. And anyone that I ever say, you remind me of blueberry pie, I need you to know that is the super duper duper compliment you could ever have, right? And my wife is watching probably, so babe, you remind me of the blueberry pie. Actually, you're better than the blueberry pie, right? Like, anyway, so continuing going. So it's always going to be on product, price, personality. Okay. So now we know if you want to go ahead and compete globally, you have to have something behind you. You have to have either a lot of resources or you have to have been building customers as you went along. So when someone says, or when the major pushback is, Anthony, you're limiting results to a 20-mile race, which by the way is a 40-mile diameter, and do a circumference. It's a lot of area, right? And by the way, I picked 20-mile radius because in America, the furthest distance a hospital is from any person is 13 miles. So if I do 20 miles, conceivably, even plus those additional 7, one should be able to go ahead and find everything that they're looking for, right? So there was a little bit of research that went into 20 miles. I didn't just say 20 miles. Okay. So to compete globally, you need to start locally. You need to go ahead and, because also another thing that you don't know is what you don't know. And I know that sounds like a silly sentence, but when I started Rhino back in 2017, I can't even tell you how different it is. In fact, those that have been with me for just 2 or 3 years can tell you how different it is just from 2 or 3 years ago. In fact, those that have been with us for 6 months can tell you how different it was from just 6 months ago. So to go ahead and say, all right, I have this great business plan that's on paper, I'm going to be able to roll this out globally, you are really, really, what's the word I want to say? Like dangerously optimistic, right? Like you're going to mess up so much, and because you don't even know what you're doing. Not that you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you have. Because until you start actually speaking to customers and doing marketing and seeing what's liked and what's not liked, you don't know what your superpower is. You don't know what the value proposition that you could offer those people are, right? So you have to start locally just by default of like, you have to start locally. You do not go ahead and say, I'm going to go to the gym for the first time. I'm going to bench press 500 pounds, right? No, you go, okay, maybe I should bench press like 35 pounds. Oh, that was easy. Let me go to 45. Oh, that was easy. Let me go to 55. A little bit more difficult. And that's how you know where to go. You have to build up to it. And if you think you are just going to go into the gym and bench press 500 pounds, you better pray that there's someone really big next to you, because when the thing comes down in your throat, you can't breathe. You living and dying is dependent on the person next to you that knew more than you, right? And I don't really think you should get into business with the living or dying risk reward for your first day. Like, maybe don't put your death on the table day one, right? Anyways, so what does it take to go ahead and compete locally? Well, now you're talking about a different story, right? Because when you compete locally, it's not dependent on product, personality, and pricing. It's dependent on likability, period. Are you liked amongst your people, amongst your neighbors? That's all that matters. How many times have you bought Girl Scout cookies and actually given them away or said, I'm on a diet, I can't eat this? How many times have you went ahead and bought lemonade on a lemonade stand? How many times have you gone to the charity car wash, and sort of like the cheerleaders and the football team washing the car and saying, all right, well, what do you want to donate? Like, we're not charging you. And you go ahead and take a 20 out of your pocket, knowing you probably could have got the super duper extra wax for like $10 at the car wash dealership down the block, right? The point is, in fact, I'll tell you a little story. I remember one time a Girl Scout knocked on my door. Was it? No, it was a Girl Scout. They were doing like whatever, knocked on my door. Hey, I have Girl Scout cookies. Do you want any? And at the time, I think I was like 16, right? Like, I didn't have any money. I worked my whole life, but still at 16, it's not like you have money to go ahead and give away. But it was like the cutest little girl. And she had like her pigtails and she was with her dad. And it was a nice scene. And she's like, all right, well, we have, they ran out of Samoas. All I had was the chocolate mint, the Thin Mint. I can't tell you how much I loathe the Thin Mint. It's like the worst taste in my entire life. I only have Thin Mint, and they're $5 a piece. Well, I gave her $5 and I got a box of Thin Mints. Now, you know how I know I did that just because I liked her? I don't like Thin Mints. I like money. She had my money and I had her Thin Mints. And upon closing the door, I asked myself, how did this just happen? I'm never going to see this girl again. It's a complete stranger. I just gave away something I liked in exchange voluntarily for something I don't like. What am I missing here? And it was the fact that I liked her. I wanted to do something nice for her. So are you likable? And now someone doesn't buy everything based on likability, right? Like if I'm an 80-year-old grandmother, I'm not buying a sports car. Right? Or maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm I'd probably be a really cool 80-year-old grandmother. But the point is, it's not for everyone, right? Like if I'm a man, I'm not buying feminine products. Can I say that in 2022? Because someone's like, yeah, anyway, you get the point, right? If I had no legs, I'm not buying a bicycle. Can we at least agree on that? I don't care how likable you are, I'm probably not going to buy the bicycle. But then even still, I'm like, well, I have a brother and maybe I could give it to him. But the point being, when you're competing locally, it's just likability because everyone locally either knows you, either has heard of you, or cares to know you because you're local to them. If somebody, if I was out one day and someone from like 3 blocks was online and we were at like a local coffee shop and they're like, hey, yeah, I see you like the Patriots too. And, pretty cool. I think they're terrible. I like the Jets. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, where do you go to watch the games? Oh, I go to that place. Oh, so do I. Actually, going to be there Sunday, 2:00. I would love to watch the games. I'm just going by myself. My wife doesn't really. Yeah. All right, cool. I'll see you there. All right, cool. Peace. Bye. I made a friend because that person was local and because I care for them. So when you're competing locally, you can actually say that those that are local are looking for a reason to patronize your product or service because either they like you, either they want to like you, or they're nosy, right? Like people can be nosy. Oh, what's Kimberly on, Main Street doing today? I went to school with her. Oh, let's just go into her shop and just kind of bump into her, right? Like when you're local, it's like a school cafeteria again. Everyone wants to know everyone. So what do you need to go ahead and be able to compete locally? Well, you need a product or service that's thoughtful, right? Like you need to not be a scam artist. If you go ahead and create an honest product or service, you have a built-in customer base that's looking for reasons to patronize your product. Meaning, if you back up your whole global domination plan and simply focus on just a 20-mile radius around you, you will make more money and you will make more sales than you ever dreamt. Because let's say globally your conversion is 0.001%, right? For every million people you put an impression in front of, like Facebook ads does impressions. So 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people saw your ad, how many people bought it, right? So let's say 10 people bought it. So that's 1 out of 100,000. So 1 out of every 100,000 people that saw your ad bought your product. Okay, that comes out to, what's that? 0.0001, Okay, 3 zeros and a 1. Okay. So if your conversion is 0.001, well, what's it have to be locally to go ahead and beat that, right? So if I go ahead and do 100,000 and 100,000 people see my product or service globally, how many would have to see it locally for me to get that same one sale? Well, I can promise you something. I don't, actually, I must say guaranteed, because it's that like, duh. If 100,000 people within your community see your product or service in an advertising fashion, hey, this is what I got, would you like to come check it out? I can guarantee you more than one person's going to buy it. In fact, a majority of those people are going to be like, hey, Ted, it's been a long time since football. Remember when you threw that touchdown and we beat Bayside and Zach Morris was crying and Kelly went off with AC Slater? Yeah, man, that was great. Cool. Great catching up. What are you doing here? Well, I just started like an automotive business and I have this product. I get a good price from the supplier. And I'm just, trying to, take care of my community like that and also take care of my family. Oh, really? Well, what's it do? I have a car. Bop, bop, bop. Listen, if I don't really need it, but I know, let me just go talk to a couple people. I know I could get you some, right? That's an actual average conversation when you're talking to people locally. So the challenge is, okay, Anthony, let's just say I agree with you, right? Your conversion percentage is higher locally than it is globally, based on all the reasons you said. Okay, but how do you compete locally? Because everyone uses this like Google or Yahoo or MSN, and everyone's just buying from all the internet stuff. Like I can't go ahead and offer a good product at a good price because everyone's going to undercut me. In fact, I don't even know how to consider this market, right? Like, how do I even do that? The truth is, everyone just goes on Amazon and buys it at a lower price, and I'll go out of business. Well, that's a real concern. Like that's not good. So how do you go ahead and compete with that, right? Again, and I think this is quite easy, although it's difficult to like understand it at first. Well, it's difficult to come to it, but once you do, it's easy. And the answer is because people want to buy it from you. Anthony, that makes no sense. No, they want to buy it from you. Anthony, that still makes no sense. All right, let's talk it out. Let me ask you, and it's a bit of a rhetorical question. Your next purchase, would you prefer it to be from a Wall Street owned company, or would you prefer it to be from a Main Street owned business in your locality? That sounds horrible. That's got to sound a little more persuasive. Would you rather your next purchase be from a Wall Street company, a Wall Street owned company with like directors and executives and all the other nonsense, or would you prefer it to be from a Main Street business that's from someone in your immediate town? And I think the answer 10 out of 10 times is someone would rather buy it from a local. And do you know how many different considerations would have to go into that they don't even think about? They're not thinking about price. They're not thinking about quality. They're not thinking about any of that stuff. They just prefer to buy local. I believe that this nation, this economy, has gotten to a point that not only has that always been true, I think everyone has always preferred to buy something that helps support their town, their locality, their Main Street, their neighbors, than supporting, fat cats on Wall Street. But now more so than ever, the wealth distribution has come to such an extreme that the top 1% actually own 90% of the country. And the bottom 50%, and I hate saying bottom 50%, because I don't think 50% is 1 out of 2 people. For a computer, I never had to fix something. Well, who knows? Maybe, there's a guy named Bill Gates that made a computer in a garage. And for those that bought local in Seattle, Washington, they got a pretty good deal, right? So I do, but I get the point, right? Computers is something that's super, super high skilled that usually come from factories via people with degrees that have been trained. So computers and stuff, I get it. Anyway, So if you ask someone just that basic question, would you rather your next purchase be from a Wall Street owned company or just like a Main Street company, a Main Street business, like from your neighbor? I think 10 out of 10 say Main Street. Now, if you go ahead and press that person a little further and say, well, the Wall Street owned company is going to give you this product for $10. The Main Street owned business, because they're local and they have a bit more overhead and they're supporting their family, is going to charge you $12. Does that change your mind at all? I gotta tell you, I think 10 out of 10 people say no, it doesn't change my mind. The point being, it's a survival instinct as old and as instinctual as cavemen. You take care of your community. You know why? Because your community is where you live. It's for survival. If you go ahead and refocus all of your sales from local businesses to Wall Street companies, well, what happens to local businesses? They all go under, which means the unemployment in your town goes up, which means the only way the unemployment rate comes down is if large corporations then come into your area to go ahead and hire those people, which means the natural progression, if you take the thought logic all the ways out, is either A, your town becomes highly unemployed and starts adopting drugs and crime, or B, a large corporation comes in as the savior and now has complete influence over those that they hire because they are the only people, they are the only employer that's giving them a standard of living, which one goes to work for so that they can take it back home to their family. So that's where towns end up in lieu of supporting their local communities, which means it's instinctual as breathing, really, when one understands the education of it, that, yeah, I'll happily pay $2 extra or 20% extra for a product local than paying for it from a Wall Street company, because it's my locality, it's my town that I want to go ahead and constantly invest in. It's my town that I constantly want to support because that's where I live. That's where my kids grow up, right? So to answer the question, how can one compete? Well, the people that you're competing for, you actually have the upper hand on, right? Like they actively want to go ahead and support you. The difficulty is how do you get that message out? Because the challenge is, if this isn't something that's massively adopted, it just fizzles itself out. Because despite everyone's best intentions, when people purchase things, it's probably from the privacy of their own home. So if they're the only person in town that's supporting local businesses and they're the ones paying extra, they're the ones paying more than anybody else because they're paying the premium that goes to the overhead of local businesses, they start feeling like the sucker. And they're like, you know what, why am I paying more than everyone else? No one else is kicking in, no one else is contributing, but I'm the joker that's paying all the extra. Well, the heck with it. One person can't make a difference. And if everyone's living on the back of me, well, that's not fair either. So kick rocks, I'm not doing this no more. So the problem is, or at least the challenge is, how do you go ahead and educate everyone simultaneously? How do you go ahead and get a mass adoption within a community to go ahead and prioritize local? And what is the technology you would offer this community to go ahead and show them or to go ahead and empower them that you are not asking them to change any behavior in their day. You're asking them to go through their day exactly as they would. That when they go ahead and look to purchase something, that they simply use this technology first, right? So for instance, the goal is we want everybody really, but on any one person that they go, okay, I want to buy XYZ. Instead of going to Google, they go to Rhino Street first, search for it there, see if anyone in their local community has it. And then if they don't, they then go to Google, right? We're not saying don't use Google. We're saying use Rhino Street first. Search your community first. That's it. So we believe that's a message that's not too hard to digest. The challenge is when you're inventing something, when you're a founder of something, you have a very big uphill battle to go ahead and educate everyone simultaneously all at once for them to go ahead and do it. Because another pro and con is when you're creating something that is as local as Rhino Street, right? Like your search results are only 20 miles. Then the challenge is, well, what if you don't have any search results? It's a network effect. It's like a fax machine. If you have one fax machine, it's worth nothing because who are you going to fax anything to, right? No one else has it. Same thing with Rhino Street. If you're the only one using Rhino Street, well, then you're not going to continue using Rhino Street because there's no search results. So not only, it's like Uber in a sense, we need to go ahead and bring this new technology into a town, but we need to go ahead and educate them that yes, it's cool to be a rider, while simultaneously educating them, yes, it's cool to be a driver, because any locality lives and dies with adoption on both ends. Because if there's only partial adoptions in the drivers, then the time it takes for your Uber to go ahead and show up at your location is greatly diminished, right? Because if you don't have ample supply of drivers, then say you only have 10 drivers in a town, well, let's say 5 of them are already working, the other 5 are miles and miles away from your location, which means it takes longer for an Uber to get to your house than it does a taxi. So even though you want to use an Uber, the value proposition isn't there. So if the drivers don't adopt simultaneously as the riders do, the whole thing falls apart, because if you don't have drivers, then the riders don't get a good value proposition. The rides don't get there in time, and vice versa. If you don't get the adoption by the riders, why are they going to be drivers? There's no customers. You're an employee that has no customers, right? So that's Rhino Street. We have to have people searching while simultaneously people listing. So it is, gotta go, I'll check the recording. All right, Robert, we'll see you later. So it's 2 things, right? A, that sounds difficult, right? But B, the fact that we already know that means everything's built in accordance to that, right? The book Super Pumped tells the tale day by day of Travis Kalanick, who was the founder of Uber. Part of our research was to actually read the book. We need to know what he did when these challenges arose. So and also Eric Schmidt and Sergey and Larry over at Google. Well, they built a search engine, right? Like it probably behooves us to kind of understand what they did. So we read the Google starting book, right? From the founders. We wanted, embedded in Rhino Street is the education as disseminated by Larry and Sergey of Google and of Travis Kalanick of Uber and of Steve Jobs of Apple, because we read the Walter Isaacson book of Steve Jobs where he went through, every decision he ever made. And I believe if you put those people together, you're probably going to have a good understanding, or at least a good foundational building of any type of service, in our case, service, that you're looking to offer. So I would like you to know that is the DNA of Rhino Street. Okay, so let's get to some stuff, right? So now that I shared all that, let me go ahead and talk to you about the strategy. So I'll do a share screen. Okay. So let me move some stuff around. So over here, you'll see Rhino Street April, it's titled. Now, the important thing is down here at 6:27, you'll see press the button. Now, press the button is our lingo for go live, right? Like we are going to press the button and everything that I'm about to show you is all going to go live simultaneously and immediately. So it's kind of like if you ever seen the movie Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage. His brother gets taken hostage and Nicolas Cage is an old car thief that retired. And they go to him and say, listen, we need these 60 cars. Otherwise, we're going to kill your brother. And he's like, okay, well, I got to do it. And he realizes to go ahead and do all of this, he needs to do it in one night, in one time period. Because to do it and slow roll it meant you lose the surprise, the element of surprise. You lose the element of wow, right? Like if he stole 10 cars day 1, then by day 2, the cops are on to him and like they're guarding cars. As it pertains to Rhino Street, we originally had the sentiment or the strategy that we were going to go town to town to town. The problem is, well, when you go to a town, you must win the town, right? So nothing's changed with that. But what are your tools to win a town? There's many different behavioral science elements that persuade somebody. And if we do it all in one night by pressing the button, well, now we build a level of curiosity, because we've built it in such a way that everyone in the nation is going to be talking about it, because we have included every mayor, every senator, every congressman, every media outlet, emails to the editors, all the Twitter handlers that do reporting. We've really included a lot of people, meaning that when it's all done simultaneously in the same night, not only do we include all the government authority figures and all the business community, but all the reporting community. And when this is all done, this town is going to hear about it from this town, hear about this town, and then it becomes a national story, right? It's not a local story anymore. Somebody called Rhino Street just launched a product to the entire nation. Everyone has it in their email and everyone's using it. People love it. The message works. We need to go ahead and find out what's going on there. Let's book an interview with this Anthony over at Rhino Street. Let's interview the Rhino Street team. In which case, by then I could promise you, you're going to see the presidential Anthony, right? Like, yeah, we were doing, and hopefully, at some point everyone's going to watch our YouTube videos and they're going to see the passion, like the hey. But at that point, when we go ahead and start fielding these interviews, and again, because we built it out to go ahead and offer those access points, let's just say the world changes at the end of June, right? So to get there, like becoming president, there are steps. So let me go ahead and explain these steps, right? So I'm going to move this over here for a second. Yeah, like I really moved it far. So for this week, what I was tasked with doing, me personally, right? So there it is, me, was identifying the 400 plus, and actually it came out to 425. So cities that all have population over 50,000. So there's 425, well, actually there's 410, but the additional 15 are cities that have unemployment rates 7% or higher. And I thought they would be the cities that would be quite receptive to a new way of doing things, since the unemployment rate in their cities is anywhere from 7 to 15% when the national average is 2, right? So they're looking for something. My task was to identify all of these cities and then create subdomains. What does that mean, right? So let's see something. So over here, you have a blank URL screen, right? So let's say nyc.rhinostreet.com. This is a subdomain, we own it. This now redirects to Rhino Street. That's not going to be the way it's going to stay, and I'll go ahead and walk you through it. But we own 425 of these, right? Like Boston.rhinostreet.com. Look, redirects. How about Freehold? And that's my town, right? Rhinostreet.com. We own it. How about, I don't know, Kansas City.rhinostreet.com. Yeah, we own all of them. So that was a lot of work, right? So I have accomplished that. V, who's our Rhino host, started out by communicating with everyone. She has our full email list of all of our rhinos. She's contacting everyone one by one. And I can promise you it's not a mass email. She's actually personalizing every email one by one and fielding the replies, because we want everyone in Rhino to know that they have their own concierge team member, which is V. Now what V is, she's on our Monday and our Friday calls. On our Monday calls, she very diligently takes notes on everything that's going on, because our calls are myself and our entire development team. So of course she pitches in as much as she likes, but in terms of what she's getting out of it, it's to just go ahead and be a sponge, just to go ahead and collect all the information, because it's that information that she then spends the week communicating personally with all of our rhinos. So those that communicate back with her are always going to know everything at the second. In fact, There's nothing ever going on Rhino that you cannot ask me because she's part of all of the meetings. And on those Friday calls, she becomes very vocal because she just spends all week communicating with the rhinos. So she's able to bring back to us, hey guys, this is all great ideas and this is the good things people said. This was the constructive stuff. And here's also the advice that they've offered. Hey, this works, but they would like to see this. Hey, this works, but they would like to see this. Great. So you know what we do? Because we have no ego, we think that's so valuable. So we go ahead and absorb that information, all of those critiques and criticisms and advice and rewards and celebrations. And we then continue building out by applying it. So we have a very credible process that allows us to continually building Rhino Street in the eyes of all of the rhinos by allowing us to go ahead and grow according to the sample size of the people that are in Rhino. It allows us to constantly build a bigger and better service, right? So that is what V's role is in perpetuity. Steve, which is one of our developers, is creating our mobile app, and I'm going to show it to you. I can't believe it's already 2:51. Guys, I think we're probably gonna go to 3:30, sorry, but I haven't even showed you stuff yet. He's building our mobile app and then building our coin payment system, because as everybody knows, Rhino coin is quite Rhino coin, right? Like that's not actually the name of it. And I've purposely never said the real name of it because I didn't want anyone to knock it off. So Rhino coin, which by the way, I do know there's a coin out there called Rhino coin, which made it even more perfect. We're not actually having Rhino coin, but Rhino coin. The real name will come to you probably around this time period. Well, let's just say by 6/27. So building out the app, and then after the app, building out the coin payment system, which means we're going to register our coin on Binance, which is actually the biggest exchange in the world. Code the coin, register it, and build the payment system within the app, which allows you as a business owner to go ahead and collect payments that then gets automated to purchase the coin, which then automatically is redeemed in cash, whatever percent you like. So you sell shirts, you sell $100 in shirts, you collect $100, then purchases $100 worth of Rhino coin, and then you can automate that next step to be automatic redemption of any percentage. All right, well, I want all 100% of my money back. So the payment system will automatically sell that $100 worth of coin and collect you your $100 in cash. Now, mind you, it'll probably be like $98 by then because there's a bid ask, you market stuff, not fees, right? Like we're not collecting any of that. But for those that don't have a business that own the coin, because everyone knows you collect 50 coin every single month because we just give it to you. Well, you earn it, right? We don't just give it, you earn it. And for those that understand the vision of what's happening, that want to go ahead and purchase coin, you have more coin than other people, right? Which means you would like a wallet for the coin. You'd like to actually monitor your coin. We've been doing a ledger by hand. Like I've been manually updating it every day. We've had people that email me and say, hey, Ant, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. How can I have faith in this ledger? And I go, well, you're answering your own question. Anyone that sees anything wrong emails me and I correct it. Meaning we've crowdsourced an actual wallet, right? We've had, and that's what a blockchain is. Everyone sees everything. So by default, and us being so overly transparent about everything, it's always going to be correct because everyone's scrutinizing it simultaneously, if that makes sense. So that coin payment system is going to allow you to store your coin, to trade your coin, to send your coin, to use your coin, and to redeem your coin. Well, Anthony, I heard that you're not going to launch this till January. Yeah, we're not. In fact, I don't believe I'm going to allow anyone to trade the coin until January, but we do want to take baby steps towards that. So we want to build the wallet for you. We want to be able to go ahead and allow you to purchase it through that, right? We want to be able to allow you to trade it, I guess, right? Like maybe trade it. There's no money exchange for that. And then we'll, listen, between you and I, we're probably going to launch earlier than January. So I don't think we're ever going to get to that 12 cents in December, 11 cents in November, because by then we'll probably go live with this and just let the market work. In which case, I do want to tell you something. When we do launch the market, Rhino Street is going to hold probably $1 million in escrow to go ahead and support the coin, because there is a rational concern. Hey, Ant, when it goes live, what if everyone wants to sell it? Well, two things to that. One, we do understand that concern, and we will be the buyers. I will buy it myself, right? So I'm going to make sure everyone has a supported price, so you don't need to have that fear. But secondly, this isn't a coin that is based on nothing, right? As you recall, the payment system for all the businesses that are on Rhino Street is going to be by default collecting cash and automatically converting to coin, which means every single transaction that's ever done on Rhino Street is a buy for the coin. It also could be a subsequent sell depending on how much somebody wants to sell. But even if they sold 100%, that buy and sell equals volume, which means the volume of transactions in Rhino coin 100% capture 100% of the growth of Rhino Street. Therefore, if you believe this platform and if you believe our vision and you want to go ahead and participate in the growth of it, which we believe is going to be the greatest renaissance of Main Street businesses ever in the history, at least of our lifetime, well, then that's what owning the coin is, because the coin captures that all, because there can't be a transaction without involving the coin. So that being said, for those two reasons, we firmly believe anyone that's bought coin at like 1 cent, it's now 5, and anyone that buys it at 5 or 6 or 7, we don't know if it'll ever really get to 8 because we're going to probably launch this much sooner, are probably going to be millionaires by the end of this year. And I'm going to walk you through the marketing, but I don't say that like facetiously or hyperbolic. There is no competition to what we're doing. Remember when we said everyone gave us pushback on that 20-mile radius? You know why? Because everyone's like, I don't even understand this. How could anyone think of that? You know why they said that? Because no one's ever done it. We will be the only ones that ever do it, which means if we can go ahead and build a structure that actually allows and empowers small business amongst the constituents that want to go ahead and patronize that small business, what is the value of that? What is the value of the small business market in the United States? What is the value of the small business market globally? Because the states, then we expand, right? I don't know what that number is, but it's a lot. And if we're the only ones competing for that number in a product and service that has zero friction, all you do is go on Rhino Street. That's it. That's all you have to do. And we have a coin that captures the value and allows everyone to participate in it that has a limited amount. I mean, I think we're doing something pretty good. So that's what Steve's doing right now. Now, Ralph and John are building out the subdomain templates. So you remember when I was over here and I did kcrhinostreet.com and it went to this and it redirected directly to Rhino Street? That's not going to be the case. So kc or town.rhinostreet.com is going to go to a subdomain lander. That lander is going to be in the middle, our commercial, and around the perimeter, all things unique to that town. So another thing that we learned from Travis Kalanick over at Uber was you have to celebrate your cities. In fact, you might be asking yourself, Anthony, kc.rhinostreet.com, that's a long URL. Who's ever going to click that? No, who's ever going to type it in? I don't know, maybe no one. And that's the point. They don't need to ever type it in. No one will ever need to type in that URL. They're going to need to click the URL. And clicking a URL is very different than typing a URL, because clicking is watch, click, click. It doesn't matter. The point being, when we go ahead and approach our marketing audience, so say, for instance, you're from Kansas City, okay? And we send you an email that is highly, highly, highly personalized. It talks about you as a child, you as your position. It's just the most personalized email ever. And it says, do you support your town? Check it out right here. And you see the URL kc.rhinostreet.com. You're like, I'm the mayor of Kansas City. I want to know what this is. KC. The point is, you feel like you own it. There's a URL that's your town, so you click it. So it's going to come to a page that has our commercial right in the center of it, and then has a whole bunch of images that are unique to the town. So let me show you what that looks like. Now, I'm not going to show you what well, first, let's show you the 425 cities, so you actually know this is happening, right? So we own the URLs to all of these. When I say alias, NYC, nyc.rhinostreet.com, but we also own newyorkcity.rhinostreet.com. So these are all the cities. So obviously you can see the work's been done, the state, the population, the change, the land mass, the population density, and the latitude and longitude. Because as you know, Rhino Street calculates latitude and longitude. So these are all the cities, right? Oh, the ones in red, we couldn't get the subdomain for whatever reason, they're just not offered. So unfortunately, I own kc.com, but not kansascity.com. So let's change that real quick. Sell white. Pretty cool. All right, anyway. So all of these, I guess I could just scroll down, right? Like, and this is the unemployment rate of these cities. So Atlantic City, which is near and dear to me because I live in New Jersey, 7.4% unemployment rate. Look at this. El Centro, California, a population of 44,000 has an unemployment rate of 15.6%. Do you think they might be receptive to something like this? I think so. So that's all the locations. Let's X this out, right? Let's save it first. Accept. Okay. What you'll see here is subsequent folders for all of those places. Now, this is going to be uploaded into our Google Drive for our team of Ralph and John to go ahead then open up, right? So this is the next steps. They went ahead and created a template. That template is a template lander page, commercial, and then areas to drag and drop images. It's my job to go ahead and get the images and organize them properly so that I could send them these folders and they're like, okay, cool. Aberdeen, Washington. By the way, did you know Kurt Cobain is from Aberdeen, Washington? I didn't know that. But okay, so Aberdeen, Washington. So what they do is they pull up the Aberdeen, Washington lander, which by the way, they have to assign every lander to those subsequent subdomain addresses. So we're gonna have 425 templated landers that all follow 3 rules. Have the commercial in the center, have drag and drop around the perimeter, and have auto redirect in 1 minute and 22 seconds to the actual rhinostreet.com. So as we pull up Aberdeen, Washington, we can very clearly see, show view options, let's see. Okay, so we can very clearly see that I have already gathered the images for this city. So imagine you're from Aberdeen, Washington, and you get this email, it's highly personalized to you, and you see a link, aberdeen.rhinostreet.com, and we're inviting you to come check it out. You get to the page and see our commercial in the center, and while you're watching our commercial or listening to it, you see all of this. This is your town. These are great pictures from your community. I don't know who that person is, but he's gonna know who he is. Look at this, this is amazing. We have to fix that photo because it's grainy, but that's the mayor. Welcome to Aberdeen, come as you are. But look at this. Talk about a community, right? These people got married. This is what it used to look like. This is the Kurt Cobain guitar, right? So all of these images will be around the perimeter of that particular site. What about Abilene? I think that's in Texas, right? So let's go ahead and sort this and allow these icons to be larger. So it's just like a fun little community. How cool is this? So this is the site they're going to come to. They're going to see themselves. They're going to watch the commercial while looking at their own community. And I think that's so personalized. That's so cool. What about Akron, Ohio, right? And by the way, I can't even tell you how much time this has taken, and I'm not even out of the A's yet, right? So like, I have so much work still, but like, I don't know the name of the sandwich, but I can promise you anyone in this town knows that sandwich. And as they see all these pictures, they're like, okay, the person marketing to us gets it. They care about us. They're celebrating. They went through the time to do this. And they did this for every major city in the entire nation. Like, these are happy people. And so by the time the person properly goes through all of the different photos, it then gets redirected to Rhino Street. So this is Rhino Street, and this isn't done yet. So this is going to be a little bit higher, and there's going to be a big green arrow pointing to learn how Rhino Street works. Up here will be Rhino, which goes to our website, right? Everyone knows this. Over here will be a link to our lives Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And down here will be become a search result. We might actually clean this up because this might just be over here. But again, our 3 calls to action is to list your business, suggest a business, or create a business. And the important thing is we need to be able, so this video is going to be our like big moment. Anyone that received the email, opened the email, clicked, saw their town, feeling good, saw the commercial, comes here, sees the arrow, learn how Rhino Street works. When they press this, they're going to come to a video. Now, I'm not going to show this whole video because we're going to change this video. The reason being, it's like one of the things that I always find to be so difficult with business is that founders or owners of businesses always go ahead and create it in their likeness. In fact, as silly as it sounds, I don't think the majority of business owners ever actually create a business with the customer in mind. They create a business with a product in mind, which is fine because the belief in their head is if you create a good product, the customers will come. But the difficulty that they then find out later on is that the product didn't speak to the customer, that they thought that they were going to be able to will the customer to accept the product. And that's the thing, especially here in America, we grew up with free choice. So I have no obligation to buy your product regardless of how hard you work on it, right? Like if you go ahead and cook me dinner and it's terrible, but you spent all day doing it, I'm sorry, but your feelings are probably going to be hurt because I have no obligation to go ahead and eat that dinner and then tell you that it was delicious. In fact, I need you to understand, all right, it wasn't good. Let me not take it personally. I respect and appreciate the time you spent, but it's not for me. And I think that's something business owners realize after they open the business. So what we need to do with this video is identify who our customer base is. So even though we've been speaking for 1 hour and 7 minutes, and many people might say, wow, that sounds really great, you're onto something, we have to identify who our customers are. So who are our customers, right? So when you do a bit of a Punnett square, you need to come up with the 4 behaviors that you're looking to solve, like the 4 people that are going to be your customers. So what it looks like for us, so think of a box. The title on the top 2 is consumer and evangelist. The title on the what's the y-axis, right? Title going down is businesses and evangelist. What does that mean? Okay, so someone's either coming to us as a consumer or they're coming to us as a business, right? You can only be one of 2 things. And in that, are they coming to us as a rational consumer or are they coming to us as an impassioned consumer, right? A rational consumer looks at price. An impassioned one looks at values, right? Like what are you trying to change? What are you trying to improve? So our consumer that's a business is looking for value, right? A rational business is looking to have a good value for what they're doing. All right, if I go ahead and patronize you, what's the value to me? And same thing with the consumer. If I go ahead and patronize you, what's the value to me? All right, so we need to go ahead and identify one of the things that we're selling is value. So what about the consumer that's also an evangelist, right? What do they want? Well, they're looking to change some things. They're looking for Main Street versus Wall Street. They're trying to say, hey, listen, we're looking for finally someone that could go ahead and stop selling out our businesses and our towns and our localities to Wall Street. We want Main Street versus Wall Street. We want to finally win. That's one of our customers, right? Now, what about business and evangelists? They want ours versus theirs. They're saying, hey, listen, I'm in business. I work hard and I can't sell anything to anyone because you guys take all the sales, because you manipulate the system. You do all these ads and you have resources I don't have. What about me versus you? Our product versus their product. That's a customer we have. And what about evangelists and evangelists? Like, watch out. These guys just want a movement. They're like, I want to burn the system down and rebuild it. Now, maybe not that literal, and we're never going to speak and stoke that fire because we don't believe not only violence, but we don't believe just burning a system down changes anything. You need to make improvements in a way that might actually create a competitive industry, right? So we need to know that that we are selling, our customers are buying either value, ours versus theirs, main versus wall, or movement, which means this video has to speak to all four of those things. And it needs to speak to them in a passionate way, in a convincing way, in a persuasive way that allows one of those four people to hear the message and then take action. Which means, I think on this screen, we're gonna have an opt-in over here. Because we're offering list a business, suggest a business, or create a business. So we need to have that in this video and have them click. Do you want to list your business? Do you want to suggest a business? Or do you want to create a business? In which case, that's going to be an email capture device. All right, great. Include your information, and we're going to send the email to you right away, plus our app. That's a free download. Something like that. I have to work on that marketing, but the point is, this is where we have to capture the emails. Now, mind you, because we have everyone's data this whole way through, we're able to go ahead and track all the data, but not only track it, but to synthesize it. What do I mean by that, right? So I'm going to walk you through what that means in about 5 minutes. So just kind of tuck that in the back of your head. First, I want to show you what the app looks like, because the email we're going to send to everyone is going to give them the permissions and the link to download it. And it's going to be on iPhone and Android. Let me see. All right. And Friday, we'll do like a walkthrough, and you can press the buttons and just kind of show us where we're at. Oh, so this is a personal meeting with my team. You see only 4 members. Who am I missing? John. He wasn't able to participate in the second hour. And plus, we always record him, so he caught up. But this is our personal meeting, so I'm sharing it with you. Let me just show you the app, though. And okay. We'll see. I think the only notes that we took from Friday was that we needed to make a celebrating or nudging to the business thing. Otherwise, everything looked perfect. So we'll see if anything pops up.
Yeah, I just had a couple notes about like phase 2 stuff, but for phase 1, yeah, we want to incorporate what you just said.
All right.
All right, so this is if like a user is trying to sign up, so they just go through and they provide their username, email, password. And then there's the option that we were discussing to have social login.
Yes.
And for this demo, just click next, and then you're asked to, this is kind of 2-in-1, confirm.
Oh yeah, I have to make note of stuff to provide you with terms of services.
Yeah, I have to send those templates to you.
Okay.
So that was one note I gotta get that to you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do that after this meeting.
Cool.
So this is like 2-in-1. You're agreeing to these terms of service and privacy policy by clicking here. Also, you're setting up your username for your profile. And then once you're in, I thought like a featured section would be good to show businesses at the top that we have kind of hand selected, or maybe they've gone through a process of becoming featured.
Right.
And this is a little carousel you can just slide through.
I'm just going to jump in for a second to catch V up. So this is the mobile app, which I'm sure you see. But each one of these mobile apps, the data is going to be pulled from the actual Rhino street, which is already coded to show a 20-mile search radius. So this app, everything that you're seeing will be different depending on the user's location. So if a user's in Freehold or a user's in Los Angeles, the pictures and the suggestions that will come up will be completely different because they'll only be pulled from their 20-mile radius.
I got that from your last meeting, the
Oh,
report.
you watched it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. So he's totally caught up. Okay.
I know everything that you know in there. You know,
All right, awesome, cool. All right, continue.
Cool. So you've seen this. So if like I have like the social aspect of like the tag, and then we're gonna be going through to eventually have like a chat and everything like that on top of the overall search functionality, which is really the meat of the application. And in the search, I just have the example, dog grooming. And then I can go to my actual business with the dog grooming business there. And we would have to just kind of build out the chat and then build out the social aspect of like following somebody, having a profile that you can log in and edit, change your profile picture, or things like that that are pretty common to social sites. Like I mentioned in the last meeting, this is modeled after Instagram heavily. So a lot of the like key features that you would see in there, I thought speak to people pretty well. There are
that converts user zip code.
Really with that.
This all day. I want to kind of be unaccessible.
Start today.
All right, so that is a little preview of what the app's going to look like. The only thing that you don't see in that app is the business nudge that you heard him speak of, because in the app, we want to celebrate business. And in celebrating business, well, we always believe everyone's a business owner, whether you sell your labor to an employer or whether you go ahead and use the labor for your own marketing to your own customers. Like you have to do something for the transaction of money. And whether you're doing it as an employee or as an owner, nothing has changed in your behavior. It's just, that's what it is. So on the app, we want to be able to not push, but nudge everyone into either listing your business, suggesting businesses that you like that are local. Because again, the whole success of the Rhino Streets is in more and more listings, because the more listings equal the more searchers, because anyone that's listed on Rhino Street, like say for instance, you list on Rhino Street and someone down your street's like, hey, what's your business do? How can I find you? Hey, just search dog grooming on Rhino Street. You'll see me. Rhino Street, what's that? Yeah, it's a local search engine. If I said search dog grooming on Google, you would never find me. So this is what I'm on. Oh, cool. That sounds awesome. I'll go search for you, right? The point being, the businesses are so important that we do need to have a portion of the app for the businesses. So I'm going to show you what I sent to Steve. That was Steve talking, by the way. So this will be the icon, obviously Rhino green and a money symbol because it's business. 3 options: manage my business, add my friend's business, or start my business. The manage my business, we're going to have links to business name, business description. So like when someone searches you, that description, you'll be able to manage it yourself. Business keywords. So what is your business do that are keywords that if someone types it in, you like if you're a hair salon and someone types in like mohawk, maybe you want that as a keyword, right? Edit your web page. We're going to link it. Edit web page. Oh, we're going to your edit page. So say, for instance, you don't do a store through us and you have it with Shopify or Wix or whatever. We're going to go ahead and link that. We're going to link that button to your website provider so that you can edit it through your website provider. We're just going to like be the intermediary, right? And need help, we're going to link that to your website provider as well. For instance, they have a contact us button. We're going to link it to your homepage so that you could fully manage your page, your business page on Rhino Street's app. Now, you want to add a friend's page. Well, it's a simple form. What's the business owner's name? What's the business's name? What's the business's webpage? What's the business's zip code? And what is your #1 favorite superpower of this business, right? So share a little bit about it. And we're already going to have your information because it's your app, right? So when you submit it, we don't need to know your name. We have your name because we see where it's being submitted from. And then start my business. This one's a little bit more comprehensive because to start a business, to go zero to hero, there's going to be steps that we're going to find important, but we're going to provide them to you. So it's a 4-step process. One, we're going to link you to the content of the full Small Business Administration tutorial via the United States of America's government page. That's what V has been presenting all last month. And we're going to have a lot of that content to share with you because we're going to create that module. Upon completing that, you're going to be able to select the exact business you want to create among Rhino's e-learning courses. So where is that? I didn't pull it up, but let me just see if I could find it for you. Where is it? Come on. I think that's over here, maybe. Okay. So what you'll see right here is a list of small businesses that we went ahead and identify our traditional local businesses. As you can see, there's a lot of them. I think there's over 1,000 here. So we're going to filter this down to the 40 best, in which case we're going to create personalized our own proprietary e-learning courses for all 40 of them. And we're going to be offering that to everyone for free. So you would go ahead and select the business you want to create and say it's dog grooming. Upon selecting that, you're going to receive a full Rhino Street e-learning course on how to start a dog grooming shop, right? So maybe step 1 is, here's a list of all the licenses you need. Step 2, here's a list of all the equipment you'll need. Step 3, right? Like if you check off each step, by the end of it, you opened up a business, right? And upon doing so, step 3 is you're going to receive a Rhino Street diploma. What's important about this, and there will be 25 question examination. You're not just going to get a diploma, because your reward for getting a diploma is we're going to guarantee your listing on Rhino Street the #1 spot amongst your locality for an entire week. Meaning if you just want to open a business, we're giving you the curriculum, we're giving you the SBA, Small Business Administration from the United States of America, complete tutorial on how to open a business, right? Like scaling, growing, retaining, exploring, researching, developing, whatever. All of that's going to be given to you. Then you're going to go through a Rhino Street e-learning course that's actually going to walk you through all the steps specific to that exact business. Then you're going to go ahead and pass your test, and then we're going to guarantee you top spots. So what did we do? We gave you the education, we gave you the opportunity, now we're giving you the customers, right? And the last step, well, actually it's 5 steps, right? You're going to book a strategy call with me, or maybe by then we'll have, maybe it'll just be me, right? Because this strategy call is going to be, how far along are you? Did you open your business? Do you have a grand opening date? Great. Upon your grand opening date, we're going to schedule your #1 listing for that entire week. In fact, we'll make you the #1, and we'll even email for you. We're going to do all of this for you, in which case you're going to be quite a happy person, and you're going to be a very loyal person to Rhino Street. Not because we demand loyalty, but because you are going to notice to yourself, wow, Rhino Street really did a whole lot of stuff on my behalf, and they're offering this to anyone. I think it would behoove me to go share this message with people. Whenever anyone asks you for the rest of your life, how did you start this business? Rhino Street. It was amazing. Simply go on it and click create a business. Meaning you're going to be, someone that's so important because you're going to help spread the message. Now, take that person, multiply it across the entire United States. You're starting to see how this is going to grow. And it's not because we're taking the easy way out. It's because we're actually going to do the work. We're going to do everything it takes to do it, right? So that I sent over to Steve, and this will be part of the app. Okay. Where am I? I don't want to, do I want to look at that just yet? Hold on a sec. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through Salesforce. So we signed a contract with this company off-prem, and they are like the people. So they are certified in all of these various Salesforce skill sets. And why is that so important? So I went ahead onto Salesforce and grabbed a couple of videos to show you exactly what it is that we have. Marketing Cloud, and this is Journey Builder. So it's 2 minutes, and I want you to watch, because what you're going to very quickly understand, first of all, Salesforce, we signed a 6-figure contract with. Like it's expensive, meaning I'm not showing this to you to tell you to go get it. I'm showing it to you to show you the power that we're going to have to go ahead and complete the goal that we're sharing with you.
This is the new customer. She controls the what, when, how, and where to engage with your brand. Perfect. Let's connect with her and all your customers how they want with Marketing Cloud, a single trusted platform built with intelligence, enabling marketers to personally engage with every customer through any channel, on any device, at scale, so that they can quickly create and tailor content specific to each customer across everything from email to advertising, mobile, e-commerce, even social and customer communities. Virtually anything. You have reached Trailblazer status. An AI-based platform that lets you take customers on personalized journeys just for them. Like guiding Jen here to this previously undiscovered hiking spot to try out these new trainers you gave her a discount code to purchase, because you started this marketing journey with Jen, connecting the way she likes, which has helped you learn what she likes and what she doesn't like, based on things like her likes and, thanks to Einstein, what she doesn't know she likes yet, because the platform is intelligent. So intelligent, marketers can quickly find new customers similar to their existing customers, learn all there is to know about these customers, like specific interests and the devices they use, create and deliver custom content through the right channel at the right time for these customers, which rapidly increases sales, then work with service to keep these customers happy, turning them into lifelong brand loyalists, which also rapidly increases sales. And it's all built on the world's #1 CRM platform, so that everything seamlessly integrates with all things Salesforce. You can even plug in thousands of trusted pre-built apps from the Salesforce App Exchange, and get help learning all there is to know through Trailhead, letting you personally connect at each and every stage with each and every one of your customers. Visit Trailhead to get started and learn how to deliver personalized customer engagement at scale with Marketing Cloud. Blaze your trail with Salesforce.
So as you can see, the awesome power of being able to personalize anything to anyone at scale. So of course, what you're understanding is Rhino's treated as a search engine. It lives and dies on its usage, on its adoption. Meaning we are going to have, our goal is to have as many people as possible, but in that goal, we need to go ahead and activate everyone to continue either being retained and or spreading the message even further, which means we have to never get away, we have to never lose the ability to speak to anyone personally while speaking to millions of people simultaneously. And that's what Salesforce Marketing Cloud allows us to do. Now, what you saw in terms of, it was showing you how to personally speak to anyone. This is Journey Builder. This is a 2-minute and 40-second video, and I'm gonna just show you that as well. This is how we're gonna be able to communicate with everyone.
In this video, we'll be giving a quick overview of Journey Builder. Let's dive in. Here we are on the Journey canvas, where we can drag and drop activities to build and optimize engaging experiences for customers. Here at the top of the Builder panel are all our entry source options. The entry source is where we choose the audience and method of entry into the journey for our contacts. These include scheduled batch entries, as well as various forms of triggered entry events, such as when a purchase is made or a service case is closed. In our demo here, we have a data extension set up as our entry source. Journey Builder can send messages across a wide range of channels, including email, a variety of mobile message types, and chat messages. We can even include ads. We've started our journey with a welcome SMS message. And here are our flow controls. These allow us to build logic into our journey and orchestrate different experiences for each customer based on many factors. For example, we can use an engagement split to route customers based on whether they opened or clicked on prior messages. Or we can use decision splits, like in our example here, to route each customer to the most relevant path based on the data we know about them. In this case, we're looking for customers who live in California. The remaining context will exit the journey. And let's take a quick preview of the monthly promotional mobile push message we've set up in the journey. This view gives us an idea of what the message will look like through the customer's eyes. Plus, we have a chance to edit anything based in this preview before our audience sees it. Not sure yet what the most effective strategy would be? Use Path Optimizer to experiment with class-leading A/B or multivariate tests across entire paths of the journey. Automatically promote the most engaging path as the winner and suppress less effective paths for future customers. Let's add Path Optimizer to add experimentation into this journey. Let's have our test run 2 different emails and see which one has a better open rate. After 3 days, the email with the best open rate will automatically be determined the winner. Let's add our 2 test emails. Customer journeys are more intelligent than ever with Einstein capabilities built right into Journey Builder. Let's incorporate Einstein's send time optimization. This will use AI to deliver the message at the time our subscribers open their messages. Let's have Einstein apply this to a push notification. Manage the entire connected customer experience, even beyond marketing, by incorporating integrated Sales Cloud and Service Cloud activities. Automatically open a support case, update a contact record, or even trigger a follow-up from an agent at critical points in the journey. From simple to complex journeys, use Journey Builder to connect and optimize all moments, big and small, and everything in between for your customers.
All right, that is overwhelming how powerful that is. And we can actually even go ahead and offer that as a service on behalf of our Rhinos, right? So when we see people enter in as businesses, we can the amount of data we're going to have is astronomical, right? Because we're going to have all the data of everyone. But to go ahead and on behalf of our businesses, email for them. For instance, business ABC is in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and we've noticed that our subscribers, our Rhinos in Allentown, Pennsylvania, X percentage of them like a particular thing. And that particular thing would be valuable to that business because that behavior would equal sales for that business. Well, why wouldn't we go ahead and just simply why wouldn't we go ahead and act on the behalf of the company and say, hey, we have this data, we're going to email this amount of people and send them the link to your store. Well, of course, that person's going to say, wow, thank you so much. So that's still being built out, but every business on Rhino Street, we are actually embedded in our business plan is to go ahead and make sales for them. And because we believe that if we can go ahead and do that, then we can be the change in the world, because we believe that economics on a local level matter. That when localities have secure financial situations, they're able to be happier, they're able to be more polite, they're able to raise their children correctly, they're able to not get divorced, they're able to not turn to drugs, they're able to do things that allow generations forward to have a real impact in a good way based on the actions of today. And that's just the goal, right? Like that's who we are, and that's what we're going to do. So that is all of that, right? I went through all that stuff, okay? Now let me show you our contracts with off-prem. So just to give you an idea, these are I didn't want the amount there. The things that they're going to do, we're going to be in contact with them tomorrow and set up this 8 to 10 weeks. Right now, they've just been hiring our team. But just to give you some insight, process builder, marketing cloud, account setup, journey builder, connector integrations, because we're going to be using all different social accounts as well. Pinterest, Etsy, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're just going to know everything about you. So once we have your phone number, your name, your email address, we're going to be able to send push notifications and ads on your different social platforms. And if you usually go on Facebook at 7:57 a.m., we're going to have an ad for you there by 7:56 a.m., right? That's what the Einstein, like, we spared no expense because we said, we're going to do this and we're going to do this correctly. We want to make sure that everyone that ever bought a Rhino coin is going to realize the vision and the dream that that was the behavior to buy the coin. Design, build, deploy, complete. I mean, guys, this is real stuff. This is like, not to mention 6 figures to get Salesforce, but an additional 5 figures to go ahead and sign on with the team, to go ahead and just implement it. It's like, all right, I bought a Ferrari, but I don't know how to drive it, so I need someone to help me, right? So that's that. So with all of that, you get a little bit more insight to what this calendar is now. So after I get all 425 of those folders finalized, not right now, finalized with all the various images per town, I then have to move on to e-learning. For the next 2 weeks, I will be creating all 40 e-learning courses. Steve will be continuing the app, and then Ralph and John will be creating all those websites, right? So they built the template in Lander for the subdomain. Now they have to take all this and integrate it. So by May 16th, we're going to own 425 websites, all with different cities' names in the website. After I complete the e-learning, I have to go ahead and get the email contacts because I didn't get to this part. So when we go ahead and do our initial outreach to all 425 localities, I guess I could stop the share, right? When we do our initial outreach to all 425 localities, well, where's the line between spam and awareness, right? Like, who are we emailing? Well, we need to email all the social clubs, like your YMCAs, your VFWs, your ASPCAs, your Habitat for Humanity, your Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Like, we want to make sure, and why those places amongst others? Because they have active citizens. They have people that are active in service and active within the community. Therefore, they are naturally open-minded, open-hearted, and we're not scamming anyone. We're offering something that's good. So we think that they'll be receptive to it. And then they can then disseminate it to the people they work with because they work in large organizations. We also want to email local governments like mayor, city council, unemployment administration, director of parks and recreations, et cetera. Well, what about the business community? What about the entire chamber of commerce? What about the job boards? What about the white pages? What about the unemployment blotters, right? Well, what about law enforcement? Like the entire police staff, the police chief, firefighters, fire chief. Well, what about media outlets, local reporters, different Twitter handlers of reporting news? What about different influencers? And we could find that with who has the most followings in that particular locality, and then send ads to send ads to their social media platforms, right? And we can also find them. Like, we have the software, right? Like you just saw it. Medical clinics. What about the urgent care clinics? These are places that take care of, undocumented people or people that don't have insurance, people that are looking for some assistance. And I don't want to say help. Nobody needs help. People that are looking for opportunity, people that are looking for fairness, right? Because I don't value one person being more than the other. Just someone's born into a better circumstance than others. So people that go to these places are not bad people, but they are receptive to finally having some fairness. And that's the message that we're disseminating in the service that we're offering. And what about education? What about teachers? What about PTA members? What about athletic coaches? What about, what's the other word I put? Athletics. What about just parents, right? These are all parents. They all have children. They all have a vested interest in their community being a good one. They see their kids every day. And PTAs and soccer moms, they talk to each other. And those moms then talk to their husband. These are the people you want on your side. So how about we get all of their contacts? And then we go ahead and decide how we fill the rest of the 2,500 emails. Maybe it'll be just various businesses or whatever, right? So those are going to be the emails we get. And the reason I said that, I'm gonna go back to share screen, was because that's my job, 5/9 to 5/23. I have to get 335,000 emails per week, so I have a lot of work to be doing. The launch we're doing is an insane amount of work, like insane. Like my wife is going to not know who I am. Well, we have a son, so I'm always home. Well, I make sure to get home, but I'm not going to have time like I once thought I could, like to use the bathroom, right? So while I'm doing that, the team is completing the subdomains. They're then creating the e-learning template, and then they're actually creating the e-learning programs. 5:30 and 6:06, I need to make the videos for the sites, right? Like the video I showed you, learn more or how to become, or what is Rhino Street? And then all the videos along the way. What is this app? Like we want personalized videos everywhere. I want videos that tell you the next step. I don't want to leave anything to chance. I want to show everyone how much we care and we are right there with you. You will never, ever have any confusion. So I have to make those videos, right? I have to script them. I have to read them. I have to make them. They're serious. They're going to be scaled. They need to be really good. And then you'll see 6:13 and 6:20 final walkthroughs, final testing. This is where we're going to open it up to our rhinos. We're going to send you the customer journey. So we'll send you guys the emails as if we don't know you, and just so that you can play with it, go through it, see what your feedback is, what your advice is, because after those 2 weeks, we then press the button and we go live. So now you have a certain understanding, a little bit more content behind it of when I say, when we press the button, the world's going to change. There's a lot. And mind you, so when we press the button and the people naturally filter through the funnel system, we're going to be tagging along the whole way. So when person A presses this button, that information gets stored in our Salesforce, our marketing cloud, because it's going to record that data, and then AI intelligence apply that data going forward. And then for those that don't click our emails, we have their data. Hence, that's how we were able to email them, which means we're going to have other funnel systems to re-engage them. And everything throughout is built on 3 premises. We want them to list their business if they have one, or we want them to suggest their friends' businesses because they see what we're doing and they want to go ahead and say, hey, I have a friend that would really be helped by this. And or we want them to be able to create a business. Hey, I'm not a business owner. I never had luck. I really wish someone would give me a shot. Great. We are that person and we're going to do that for you, because that person is the person that everyone else throws away, is the most valuable person to us. Because if we can go ahead and turn someone from someone who was a bit, not hopeless, a bit pessimistic and lacked hope or faith in a good outcome, and we came around as a hero to them and brought them from 0 to hero and went ahead and helped them and hand in hand created a business and then sent sales to a business, these are the people that are going to say, Rhino changed my life. These are the people that are going to talk and share and share. So what you'll quickly understand is, if we go back to the beginning of this conversation, everything that makes Rhino as a value proposition to go ahead and defend the value of the coin, but not only defend it, to grow the value of the coin, to everyone will be millionaires by the end of this year. I'm not going to guarantee that, because that's a really, I'm going out there to say that. But if I'm even 25% successful with what we're doing, do you think that coin is going to be under $1, $2, $3? You're buying it at 5 cents today. And that's because I appreciate you. And where does that money go? It goes directly back into the platform to fund everything that I'm showing you. So it is important that I go ahead and show you where the money goes. I want to show you the progress. In fact, let's do a share screen one more time, just so I can offer, and then I'm going to get to the questions, because I do want to offer everyone. Oh man, hold on a sec. Let's use this, right? I do want to offer everyone the opportunity because I keep talking about the coin, but I never market the coin. It's not something that we do. But there are people that are like, hey, Ant, you know what, let's just go to Rhino Street. Okay. So I have a share screen, Rhino Street, go to Rhino, scroll down, get your Rhino coin. I'm going to take this link and where's my chat? So for those that are watching the replay, distributivemarketing.com/Rhino, but Rhino has a 0, not an O. But obviously it's much easier if you just go to Rhino Street and kind of just walk through as I showed you. Even more, if you want to get the coin, this is where you click. Mind you, there's a whole ledger and a balance sheet, right? So you could click the ledger and you could see everyone that owns coin. We update this every single day. And what you'll see is it's a long list. So you are not by yourself. And if you want to see the balance sheets of everything we're doing, you can follow along, right? So that's all there for you. Get coin. So I'm going to take this link and put this in the chat as well, because this is like the meat and potatoes link. If you click this link, you'll be exactly where I am right now. So you can see the price of the coin. You see the month and you see the price. So we're in April, the price of the coin is 5 cents. You buy them in quantities of $100. So $100 will get you what? Why do I need to use a calculator? I think that's 2,000 coin, right? Yeah. So for every $100, you get 2,000 coin. How did I do that? $100 divided by 5 cents equals 2,000. So let's say I want to buy, I don't know, $1,000 worth of coin. I'm going to put $1,000 in now, and if it goes to where it's supposed to go, I'm going to be a millionaire. Okay, cool. So 10 quantity of 100 is 1,000. So here you go. This says 20 because I did this the other day. But you just go in and edit it. So I'm at 10, right? So 10 times 100 equals 1,000. 1,000, checkout. Now you're going to put your shipping details, delivery method, which of course it's just emailed to you. In fact, the first of every month, you're also going to get a Rhino coin certificate. Okay, hold on, I'm looking for it. So I always try to time what I'm saying with the time it takes me to get this stuff. And more times than not, I always mistime it. Except now, you see how I just spoke about nothing? Rhino coin certificate, it's our seal, your name, the amount of coin you own, my signature, and the price of the coin. This comes to you the first of every month, regardless, because everyone receives 50 coin automatically for being part of Rhino. So we make sure that everyone receives those certificates. And if you lose it, obviously I have the ledger. These certificates don't make themselves, I make them. So that's that. Delivery method, you'll see that it's regular shipping or express shipping, because we do have like physical product. That we don't charge anyone for shipping because I hate charging people for anything. So you know what? Spoil yourself. Do expedited shipping. It's on me. I will send that email so quickly. Then payment is your payment method, and then review and place order, and you will be the happy owner of Rhino coin. So that is that. We're going to stop the share. I think I have to save this, right? Because I changed something. Okay. And I'm going to open the chat because I know I got questions. Oh, Anthony, why do you do such silly stuff? Okay, here we go. All right, so that was Robert saying goodbye. Binance not allowed in Ontario, Canada, where I'm from. Oh, Robbie, well, we're going to have it on Binance, but well, that's where it'll be registered because it's the biggest exchange. But you're allowed to have any wallet or any exchange you want, because once it's freely traded, you could trade it on the exchanges you like. Our goal is to get on Coinbase. I believe we'll be able to by the end of the year. I also want to be on PayPal because I think they only have 2 coins on it. So we have goals, different platforms and exchanges we want to be on. But once we're on one, and we picked Binance because they're the biggest, you can freely trade us on other exchanges. And we will give you direction on, you know, if Binance doesn't work for you, you can do it here, 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 and here. So we're never going to leave anyone behind. So just to give you a little commentary on that. That's a beautiful idea. Are you going to have advertising, or does the app highlight a local business in any way? So our businesses will never, ever, ever be allowed to advertise. We're never going to go down a road where somebody is prioritized over someone else. That being said, Rhino reserves the right of the #1 listing. So obviously, as I previously said, the #1 listing will be a reward for all new businesses that come on. But in the same likeness, as you'll quickly, be able to deduce, we want to use the #1 listing to reward people. So maybe we'll have a situation where, all right, we want to go ahead and raise $10,000 for a charity, this particular charity this month. So if you go ahead and purchase $10,000 worth of Rhino coin, we will go ahead and make you the #1 listing. In which case, we're not taking your money, right? Like, you're not giving it to us. You're buying the coin on the open market. But by buying the coin on the open market, you're taking supply off the market, so there's less supply with the same demand, which means the price goes up, and you're buying it, which means the price goes up. Because we will always manage this as per the price of Rhino coin. What I mean by that is we will know the #1 indicator if we're doing a good job or not is the price of coin. Our #1 goal is to make the coin go up, which means we have to do our job, which means everything that we're going to do from here on out is going to be 100% supportive of the coin, because when the coin goes up, everyone that owns the coin makes money, and everyone on the platform owns the coin. What we're doing is we're having the greatest renaissance of Main Street ever, and that can only happen by releasing the shackles and empowering everyone through financial freedom. So we're never going to sell ads, but we will allow a money transaction for #1 placement. And that's going to be at the benefit of everyone, meaning you're going to buy the coin. The only difference is I'm not taking the money because I don't want the money, right? I want everyone to benefit. Because again, I'm going to own a lot of coins. So don't think it's like Anthony's just a saint. I think I am a saint, but I have a vested interest too. I want to have financial freedom as well. I own the coin, I own the company. And as much as I've given out to everyone, I'm still going to be rewarded or hurt based on the price of it. I just believe that when all of our interests are equally aligned, that makes for the best success. Okay, so awesome. We will eventually be able to access our own. Yes, you will have complete access to your own customer list, because the customers are going to purchase from you. The only interaction Rhino Street's going to have with your business, besides obviously listing you, is that we're going to have the payment system on your site, so that we know that when someone buys something, it's the coin. And again, that's to everyone's benefit. The value of the coin is dependent on the transactions, which means if everyone has it, everyone benefits. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're not asking you to do anything for us. We're asking you to do for everyone. So whenever anyone purchases anything from you, that's a transaction that's going to go exactly as it would. You're going to capture all of that data. Every Rhino needs to watch this Zoom recording immediately. That's accurate. Thank you. 7 to 8 exposures are required for awareness. Oh, Deborah, thank you. Yeah, we're certainly going to do our best to do as many of them as possible. Oh, so I guess I might have said something that answered that. Sorry for confusion. The 20-mile 40 radius will be my zip code or from the city that's. Oh, Michael, it'll be from your location. What I mean by that is the search results will be a 20-mile radius, 40-mile diameter of the user's location. So if somebody, because that also gets recalculated every day. So if a user is in Connecticut today and tomorrow's in Pittsburgh, well, now it's going to be 20 miles of their location in Pittsburgh. So anyone that visits your locality will have immediate access to your listing. And for you as a user, you're only ever going to get the results of your 20-mile radius. But we also did code in the ability for you to search different localities. So when you go on Rhino Street, if you decline the permission for you to share your location, it then prompts you for a zip code, which means if I'm traveling to New York City tomorrow and I want to prepare myself and purchase some stuff from where I'll be traveling to, I could decline my location and put in the zip code of New York City, which I think is 10013 or something, in which case I'll be able to search that locality. Oh, cool, thanks. Oh, I wasn't expecting this to be in 2 hours. It's 5 minutes short of that. So guys, I seriously love you. I really do. So if I look a little tired or sound a little tired, you know why. I'm going to be sending this recording in the email to everyone tomorrow. If you can help Rhino and you can share this with others, that would be really super cool as well. All right. So guys, I totally love you. I will see you next Wednesday, and I'll hopefully, well, I should be able to show you all the subdomains, and we'll show you all the sites, which is going to be really super cool. Thanks for reading the list at the beginning. Yeah, no, totally cool. All right, love you guys. Bye.